Hi everybody and welcome back to Apnin News. Now, today what I thought I'd speak about is Donald Trump and his threat to sue the BBC. Now, I've been considering doing it since last week, since the big story broke about all the splicing and everything to do with Panorama. Who would have thought Panorama breaking well, it's not against the law, but it's not very ethical. Let's get things straight. So, first question is he right to do it? The second question we've got to look at is, why is this type of thing happening? Now, the second question's quite easy. It's not a difficult question to answer at the end of the day. The reality is, now, no matter what publication you look at, okay, whether it's a newspaper, a radio station, or even what's known as citizen journalists, which is what I basically am, okay, and the publication. So it can be mainstream media or citizen journalism, okay. They're going to take a narrative, whether they go to the left, should I go that way, to the left, or they go to the right. They're going to go one way or the other at the end of the day. Okay. And anybody who says, no, they don't, or they won't, are point blank lying. You know, you can look at every single one. If you want to go on YouTube, or go on Rumble, or go on TikTok, or just look at the newspapers in the news agents nowadays, they all go with one particular narrative. And this is a lesson I learned many years ago, relatively the hard way. Okay, because I used to work on a publication, I'm going to try not to get myself sued or anything, which was a small local publication, which was the Gospel and Fair and Globe. Now, I worked on that publication. Now, I wasn't a journalist. I did a bit of journalism for them, but I wasn't there as a journalist. I was there as a photographer, as a sports photographer, and also to help them with the website and social media. And when I started there, the editor said to me, and I still remember it as clear as anything to this day, he said, "We do not take any political narrative. If the left screw up, we'll attack the left. If the right screw up, we'll attack the right. End of story." Okay. And I've said, fine, no problem. I've got no problem with that. I'm happy with that. And I'll come and help you out. And then Brexit happened. And I remember after Brexit, he attacked all the Brexiteers. So anybody that voted Brexit, the editor at the time absolutely slaughtered them all. And I said, you can't do that. And he said, why not? Because we're going to go neutral. We're not going to go political. That's what you said to me. And if you're going to go against that narrative, I'll quit right now today. So you either take the article down and make it a neutral article, or I leave. So I decided to take it down, you know, power threatening to quit because he needed me more than I needed him at the time. And he took it down. But the problem is nowadays, okay, that doesn't really happen. So the question is, why do they do it? If you take, for instance, Panorama with their splicing, why did they do it? And it's a simple reason at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, and it's just the same for me at the end of the day. Okay. Any newspaper, radio station, or online media, like I do, okay, you're either looking for clicks or looking people to buy newspapers at the end of the day because you want it to make money. And it's as simple as that. Okay, so there was no interest in putting what Donald Trump actually originally said Nobody's going to be interested in that. But if you splice it and make it into a different narrative, which I'm not going to hide, is completely ethically wrong, now you've got a story. Okay, now you've got something that people are going to watch, or they're going to click onto it to watch it if it's online, or they're going to buy a newspaper about that story. No different to the story we got now, because it's hit the headlines. People are going to read about it and buy newspapers, or they're going to switch onto their radio, they're going to switch onto the news. So now it makes money, it draws money, a bit like Vince McMahon always used to say in the WWE, draw me money. And that's how you draw money at the end of the day. Okay, and that's what every publication wants. They want something that's newsworthy. Having what it was originally wasn't newsworthy, so they created something. Now, is that right? Categorically, no, it's not. It is so unethical, and anybody that does something like that should be sacked on the spot. Now, there are times when it can be ethical, where, say for instance, as long as you're keeping it to the heart of the story, and say for instance it's a 30-minute speech and you just need to cut a load of the drivel out, you know, I'm known for doing it, going on tangents, going off, you know, subjects and everything. I've done it so many times doing videos. And then ethically it can be, as long as you're actually keeping it based on what was actually said at the end of the day. Okay, then that type of thing, editing, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you turn it into another narrative, then that is wrong. Now the other question is, and this is the fundamental question, is Donald Trump wrong to threaten to sue the BBC? And I would say no. Threatening to sue the BBC for $1 billion, you know, that might be a bit excessive. But is he wrong? I would suggest no, because it's a defamation of character. I would suggest. Now, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a barrister or anything like that, so I'm guessing that's what the actual thing that he would be going for is defamation of character, because they're trying to imply he said one thing where he said something completely different. Okay, so is he wrong? I don't think he is. And it's about time the BBC learnt a few lessons, you know, when you look at the things that they alleged and said to do with Gaza. There's been a lot of allegations they falsely represented during that, during COVID. There's lots of things that have happened in recent years where the BBC have been alleged to come up with a false narrative and point blank lied. So I would suggest it's about time the BBC got their comeuppance, and maybe it's even time to suggest that people shouldn't be paying the licence fee as well, which is something I wasn't going to speak about, but thinking about it, because I know it was spoken on which radio station, Talk TV. I think it was on Plank of the Week I was watching on Friday, and they were talking about it, saying maybe it's time to get rid of the licence fee. You know, how can you justify it when these type of things could be happening? Because the argument is, and I would put this out there, that the BBC should be whiter than white, because they're taking public money. Because ITV aren't. Well, they may do, take some, but as far as I'm aware, they don't. Channel 4, Channel 5, all of the Sky channels, all, you know, all the news channels which are published from abroad in the UK, they don't get public money, but they still have to abide by the laws and ethics at the end of the day. That's what it boils down to. It boils down to ethics. You know, so what I'm going to say for now is let me know what you think. What should actually happen to the BBC? Because just because the Director General is quitting, is that enough? I don't think it actually is. You know, yes, the guy at the top should go, especially if he knew about it. But I think more than that needs to happen. What needs to happen? It's not down for me to say at the end of the day. I'm only a licence fee payer. Okay, so let me know in the comments down below, okay, what you think needs to happen. If you've enjoyed this video as well, please do give us a like and share. It does help us reach more people and obviously grow as a channel at the end of the day. But for now, thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you all again a bit later.